Hello my audience, today I want to review you this book, NLP, the new technology of achievement. And I'm not really sure who wrote this book. It was written by many people and it's a book about this thing, a psychological, school of thought called NLP. It's quite a new thing. It came like post-Freud and post-Carl Jung, and there were a couple of founding fathers of this movement of psychology. And I mainly got this book because Anthony Robbins talked about NLP in one of his books. And I became conscious of this quite, many years ago. I just never, read about it. But I Googled for the best books about NLP, and this was one of those best ones. And yeah, so if I talk about this book in specific and not maybe so much about NLP, because I'm not really clear, to be honest, what NLP still is. And if I talk about this book specifically, is that this is kind of a middle point between a self-help book and a life survival book. Those books, how to survive in the workplace, these kind of books. I don't really appreciate those books too much because usually they involve a lot of this quite small thinking. If you want to read those books that, for example, like Tony Robbins books, they are very big thinking books, and they are not guides to how to survive the world. They're guides how to change the world. Yeah, for sure. So this is kind of at least half of how to survive the world, but it's just the fact that this Babylonian system, it's so artificially dumb that you take it for granted. You become, much less than you could be. So maybe this is one of those books that this guy can't bring the best out of you, or these guys that wrote this, or gals, I don't know. So still, there's something great in it, There's talk about all the aspects of psychology, phobias and motivation and confidence, and also about self-esteem, these basic questions. But the problem over here is that when you make a book that is so, general about so many things, you kind of don't get a very good grasp of any of them. There's books written all about, for example, self-criticism. There's books written all about self-esteem. For example, The 6 Pillars of Self-Esteem by Nathaniel Branden, I think was the writer's name. There are so many self-help books about these specific topics, and that's what I feel is the weakness of this book. It's not really about any specific, thing. It's just about, so many different kind of subjects. But in the end, they are all psychological topics. So I was thinking, is this a self-help book or what is it? I would call it that it's a psychology book. It's not a self-help book, actually. And that's how I felt the effects of this book, because I always kind of get effects from books. When you read great books, there are effects. Your life changes. Literally, you do different things and different stuff happens. You might start to act a little out of the norm, do stuff that are not usually for you. Some books just puts on that mode for you to do something out of the norm. They also talk about in this book about recovery from sports injuries. And I have recovered a lot from sports injuries. And I'm going to say that what he talked about over here, in my own opinion, is not the goal of recovering from sports injuries. But he also made clear that sports injuries are kind of built from a wrong mindset, maybe, or a kind of, well, a mind that has grasped onto this idea of, competition and overcoming, others. And yeah, it's just that some people, end up in this mode of thinking. It kind of speculates on the societal level, like where does this come from? So if you are a very deep thinker, you might, grasp a lot of great stuff from this book. But I would in no way recommend a book like this for anybody that doesn't read a lot. I would not recommend this book for anybody that doesn't have the brain or doesn't have, that own understanding or ability to kind of discern things. There's a lot better books out there, self-help books that might help you to achieve specific ends. For example, like confidence. I believe that this book doesn't just have it, and these writers don't have it. It's too kind of normal, so to say. It's just in my own opinion. I deem these, goals that they have, kind of very low. Like this is not what we should be striving for. It's not achievement at all. Almost not everybody does it. So if we are talking about achievement, we have to be extraordinary. But maybe that's putting the bar a little bit too high. But in the end, it's written from a psychological type of point of view. If we compare something like this, and this is, how would I say it? Psychologists, the main thing that they want you avoid doing for yourself is harm yourself and hurt yourself. Isn't that the main thing that psychologists are here for? They kind of look after you so you don't harm yourself. Kind of like a mother did or didn't, or your parents. Kind of like they didn't or did. And that way try to heal your mind. This is different, We are, what we are here doing is really bracing these limits, It's unlimited power. It's exactly what he's talking about. This is kind of like playing in the lines. It's even in the fucking picture. And I didn't like it too much. But they talk about the original founding fathers of this NLP thing. This book doesn't even touch the hypnosis stuff, And there's some greatness in there. But it's also kind of dangerous. This guy, clearly knows about hypnosis. The problem with hypnosis is just that it can actually, you can actually hurt other people, through mind control, so to say. And this guy knows mind control. These guys don't know that, And you can hurt other people bad, like seriously, through these powers. It's black magic. Like, I'm not joking over here. So if you go too far into this, you might be the victim. You won't be able to get, you won't be able to use these powers yourself because they are so hard to use. But I have also seen me use them, so it's not impossible. But it can backfire on you. Maybe God didn't, maybe God didn't prepare you for this book, Maybe that's why this is not the Bible, This is much, closer to Christian thinking, I think. This is almost satanic. Well, but for sure, you guys, just read it if you are interested in this topic. And if you are really interested in psychology, then yeah, if you're going to that field, for sure, read this. But otherwise, it's not the most life-changing or practical or anything kind of book like that. It's not even a good how to survive the world guide, but it has the basic, goodwill of the psychologist behind it. Like, don't be hurting yourself, my boy. Yeah. Thanks for watching this video.